Welcome to Satchats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats live. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Satchats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So if you are brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. You don't even gotta head to satchats.com. You can just jump into the chat with us live right now. So I'll be your host, Stuart Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, a.k.a. Silent Bob, founder, CEO of Ithaca Hummus, Bitcoin smash buyer, and, you know, we got some giveaways going on, website. I don't know what I'm supposed to say anymore, but, you know, we're getting it figured out. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, well...
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, okay. So our producer went into an absolute frenzy last weekend because he felt like we were running roughshod over YouTube's rules. Apparently, it's a no-go to offer like stuff in direct exchange for subscriptions or something like that?
Yeah, you can't proposition people to subscribe to your channel
like in exchange for compensation.
Yeah. It's a gray area. We're not sure exactly how gray it is, where the line is, where we fall on that whole rule. But because we're not sure, we want to be extra careful because we gotta get subscribers. We're trying to grow.
We don't want to get shadow banned.
We don't want to get
Senor
shadow banned.
Gringo. We don't want to get shadow banned. But the 10 million sats giveaway is still here. It ain't going nowhere.
Yes.
We just got to make sure we contort ourselves into the right matrix of words when we speak about it. But when we reach 99,999 plus one subscribers on YouTube, 10 million sats will be given away in some way, shape, or form. I think producer Jeremy wanted us to direct you to our website for now to maybe sign up, but Chris and I got to understand that. I got to feel like I got to get underneath that myself. So by next Friday, we'll have the correct, like,
we'll be buttoned up.
But all y'all got to know is subscribe to this channel, and 10 million sats will be given away, okay? We're also on the road to number 99. Kristen, my wife, who came with us this week to Las Vegas and the Bitcoin Conference 2025. Good morning, Mom. Appreciate you. And I think that's what we're going to be talking about a lot today is our experience in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So maybe, do you want to kind of open it up? How did you feel going to Las Vegas for the Bitcoin conference?
Well, first of all, for anybody who's watching who doesn't know, the Bitcoin conference was held this week out in Las Vegas at the Venetian. And it was the first conference that we've attended as Satchats. So Stuart and I went out there. We took our lives. We took our wives and our lives. Our lives were in our hands.
Our wives are our lives.
Our wives, our lives. I mean, we took our whole life with us out there, and it was great. Good morning, ladies. We love you. Welcome back. We got home at like 2 a.m. last night, so we might be a little rusty, a little dusty, but we're still here. We're still here because we love this Friday live. We love being with you all. So yeah, that's where we were this week. I of course still have my proof of work around my wrist.
Hold that up.
That's what that is. I was gonna wear my badge today, but I forgot it because I was.
But you got the hat too, though.
Now this isn't just any old hat.
Yeah.
This hat was not available to just anyone. You had to be invited to the speakers party, which was held on I believe Tuesday night.
Yeah. And
we got that invite from our boy Dan, who we got to meet this week. Anna Bevan, number 41, introduced us to Dan, and he works as a lobbyist in D.C. Great guy. He's going to help us. The main reason that we went out was to look for sponsors.
Yeah, we're trying to get them sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay, and we get that we're little babies here on YouTube, but we're like, it's like when Hercules was born, man. It's like we're going up. Ain't nowhere this podcast going but up.
Yeah.
And we wanted to find sponsors who could see that.
Well, I've got a lot of experience with that. Like
Okay.
there was a point in time where Ithaca hummus was nothing but little round deli cups sealed with my wife's hair dryer and a folding table at a farmer's market.
That's insane.
But I spent a lot of years selling the vision. You know, we're the best. We're going to be the best. And people buy into that energy.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. And when they do, they become, and this is what I want all these potential sponsors to hear right now.
Okay.
When they do that, they become a part of our story. You know, they're not just a sponsor. They're not just someone that we're collaborating with at an arm's length kind of transaction level. They become a part of our story. You know, we're writing our own story here.
Yeah.
We don't have like big investors or, anybody telling us what to do. We do what we want. We do what we feel is right for the community that we're building for our Satillionaires. And that's kind of rare in business, to be honest with you. Usually there's somebody behind the curtain kind of, who has the puppet strings going.
Yeah, yeah.
We do our thing around here, and we invite sponsors to join us and go deep in their relationship with us and help us write that story together.
Yeah. Well, maybe why don't we march through our experience in the conference and just kind of break it down for everyone who didn't go. So we took a flight out to Vegas, and it was all good. Nice Delta flight, no big deal. I had a bunch of Andor on my phone. I've been watching season 1 of Andor on Disney+. It's the bomb, dude. Great Star Wars series. Gets you down to the size where a single TIE fighter is scary. Anyways, we landed in Vegas, and it was morning. We took some kind of Uber out from the airport, and the guy talked about Trouble City. Remember that? We were talking to the Uber driver. He was like, "Welcome to Trouble City." We're like, "Oh, we don't want any trouble, man. We had plenty of trouble last decade. We're good." And we thought we had an industry pass. We thought we were going to go to like the, I guess, more exclusive
Day one. Yeah.
But it actually we had forgotten that it was like another $2,000 per ticket do that.
We had festival passes.
Yes.
Which worked out great, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because we got out there at like, I don't know, 9:30 in the morning, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we had something lined up for later on that night, which was the Speakers and Speakers Friends party, which was phenomenal, by the way. I liked it.
We'll get there.
And, we got there. We were a little tired. We were up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to get to the airport. And it was kind of a nice surprise. So, we actually can't even enter the conference today.
Yeah.
So we looked at our wives. We were like, let's go to the pool.
Let's hit the pool. Let's hit the pool.
So we went to the pool. I got a poolside massage.
Yeah, he did.
I tempted Stuart with the offer of a poolside massage of his own.
And when I finally relented, the lady was too busy.
Well, I tried to hook it up. I was like, okay. So let me tell you, full disclosure.
And my shoulders they're still so tight, dude.
So I went up. So I see this lady walking around. She's got like a vest on, and it says poolside massage right on the back of it.
Yeah.
Genius marketing by the Venetian, by the way, because then she takes me over to this area that you have to walk through as you go from the hotel out to the pool area.
Okay.
Has a little table set up, and I'm basically the billboard. Like I am set up on display.
Yeah.
She's rubbing me down. But before she started, I was like, look, I've got a friend here. I wanted him to go. I wanted him to take the first one.
Yeah.
But he was a gentleman, a Bitcoin gentleman, as we are around here. And he said, no, Chris, you go first, and I'll take the second hour. You tell me what you think, and I'll decide. So I was like, let's make sure that afterwards Stuart can get up here and do it. Well, she was booked for that following hour, but she said, I'll call to the main massage area, and have some reinforcements sent out.
Yep.
And finally, I was like, all right, well, why don't you go ahead and do that now? And she was like, no, just lay down, relax, enjoy your massage, and we'll take care of that afterwards. Mm-hmm. So I have my massage, which was excellent, by the way. Excellent. I'm sorry to keep rubbing that in, but it was like the right amount. It was the right amount of pressure, but she was still like soft and smooth, and it was beautiful. And so I wrap up. She calls the lady, and as far as I know, she was gonna have the other lady come down, but then you went over there, and apparently that wasn't the case. So.
Some random jabroni was already laid out on the table, and the second lady was busy. So it was not the Weird Sisters did not carve that for me. But I swam and slept, and I was hanging out with the girls. Mm-hmm. So that was a fun way to spend the day. And then we went to Hell's Kitchen by Gordon Ramsay, and it was delicious.
It was.
It was really tasty. I had like a really tasty tomato salad, really tasty lamb, but the dessert was the bomb. Mm-hmm. The dessert was the bomb. But Chris wanted a specific dessert that wasn't on the menu.
An affogato, that's always my dessert of choice.
Which is like, it's like you pour espresso over ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream, typically.
And Chris, y'all got to understand, Chris is the CEO of Ithaca Hummus, okay? So everywhere he goes, the world tries to like prop him up and let him know that he's the man. We were on the flight.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm over here. I got my wife Kristen on one side. I've got Chris's wife Ann on the other. I'm in the middle seat, watching Andor on a small screen like that. At some point in the flight, one of the stewardesses came by and just like casually handed Chris like a postcard or something.
A handwritten note.
And when you look at it, it's a handwritten note from all 4 stewardesses thanking him for the opportunity to serve him on this flight.
And if you're watching, you're welcome.
I was like, are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah.
This guy, oh my gosh. So he's used to, getting his way in life, and he asked the waiter at Hell's Kitchen, can I have an affogato? And the waiter went, no.
Yeah.
It was the most beautiful moment. He just was like, no.
Yeah,
can't do that.
we don't make affogatos here.
But Chris, this is why Chris is going to be good at getting us a sponsor too, because he didn't take no for an answer. He was like, well, I see you have ice cream on the menu.
And espresso.
And I see you have espresso on the menu.
You got a problem with adding those two things together? What do you think Gordon would say if he was here?
Right. He's like, let's get one thing absolutely clear, okay? We don't have that available for you.
Yeah.
But anyways, Chris got his way. Mm-hmm. So for better or worse. But then that night, so we were dying by then because we had been up for like 18, 19 hours.
Well, what I should have done is one of my other tricks of the trade.
Okay.
Which is I like to have someone call ahead and place the order for the whole table so that when I show up, the first course is already on the table.
Wow.
As well as all the beverages and everything so that we can just kind of like make it real efficient.
Okay. And it looks like MJ says she gets the notes on the flights too. Mm. So you and MJ are in that VIP class. Mm-hmm. I told Chris what he needs to do is have a note ready for the stewardesses next time. And they try to hand him a thank you note, and he's like, no. And he hands them one. He's like, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be on this flight.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He needs to get down underneath them next time.
Yeah.
So anyways, number 40, Anna Bevan, she had an old buddy, Dan Spuller.
From Raleigh.
Yeah.
My wife actually went to high school with his sister.
And they had like DC connections. So she called him, and then he was like, yes, I'll be at the show. And it turns out he's the Bitcoin guy at the Blockchain Association in DC. So it's basically like a lobbying arm for all digital asset type companies. Mm-hmm. And you pay like a membership fee to get into the association. And then a portion of that gets like, given to politicians to, influence legislation. And I think I had a big conversation with him on day 2, and I think he said the digital assets lobby is now like bigger than, I don't know, it was bigger than a number of like large lobbying efforts from other industries, which was crazy. Mm-hmm. Anyways, he knew the people at Kraken, and Kraken was hosting a VIP reception for the speakers of the conference.
Of which we were not.
We were not speakers.
I mean, we spoke, but not publicly.
No.
Actually, there was one instance where we did have a little speaking engagement, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
So I was I'm an introvert, I just like to be alone. So I was dragging, and we got there, and it was fun to go inside. It felt pretty VIP.
It felt like a Silicon Valley kind of like tech entrepreneur party.
Yeah, we walked like 20 minutes away from the Venetian, and then it was called like the AYP Pool Club or the AYU Pool Club. I don't know. It was like a pool. It was a very small pool, actually. And then there was all these cabanas around it on 2 floors.
Big stage. Bone Thugs and Harmony was there.
Yes. So at one point, it was like, bang, 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 bang. It was like, what?
Yeah.
And I just thought they were like playing music, but it actually turned out like actual Bone Thugs and Harmony was coming out on stage.
Yeah.
And my wife told me later, she was like, oh, I would have come with you if I had known, because that was like my 8th grade and 9th grade was Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know that about you.
Yep.
But we got some water, and we tried to get some Red Bull, but they wouldn't sell us any Red Bull.
I tried to pay $100 for 2 cans of Red Bull, and they would not take it.
Yeah, literally. He was like, he just threw like $100 bill. It was like, just give us the 2 Red Bulls that are in that fridge right behind you.
It was like anytime somebody says no to me, it turns into a competition. It's like, you're going to say yes.
He was like, I told you, lady, I want a Red Bull and an affogato. Don't you get?
Yeah.
Do you have ice cream?
You will say yes.
Do you I want you to pour Red Bull over my ice cream.
Yep.
So we couldn't get a Red Bull. So we just got some water, and we were trying to meet one of the guys from Kraken, and we were also trying to meet Bo Hines.
Bo Hines.
Who is like, for people who don't know, and I don't know him very well either, I think he's like the digital asset czar for the Presidente.
Yeah.
Tropino, something like that.
Yeah. He's high up in that world.
Okay.
And side note, my brother-in-law played football with him at NC State.
Okay, that's right.
And they played in the Bitcoin Bowl or the crypto bowl.
Okay.
Down in Florida. It was like the only year that they had that, but fun fact.
So it was overwhelming for me. There was 1 million people there. I didn't know them. It was very loud.
Yeah.
There's lots of drinks. No thank you, Trouble City. No thank you.
Yeah.
But one thing I told Chris is like, when I get like this, I'll just find somewhere to sit and just kind of like steep myself in the environment until I'm acclimated. And we ended up running into Adam, who is the CEO of Bitcoin Well.
Yeah.
And that was very cool. He was a cool dude. He introduced us to his wife. He immediately offered me meat off his plate. And we were stuffed from Hell's Kitchen, but I thought, okay, we're looking for sponsors.
Just say yes.
Adam could sponsor us. Not only do I want to say yes to please him, but is there some form of magic that occurs if someone offers you meat off his plate and you eat it, Is there some, it's like, hey, look, man, I've eaten off your plate before.
Yeah.
Let's eat off your plate again.
Yeah.
In the form of sponsor us.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. So I had 2 pieces of meat off his plate while we talked about our kids and other things. And that was a lot of fun. And then we tried to find a couple more people, but we really couldn't. Then we noticed that there was a wall, a black wall, and there were 2 holes. And coming out of the holes were arms, human arms holding champagne glasses for you to just pluck out of an actual person's hand. And I was like, we're out of here. We're getting out of here. So we dipped and we crashed. The next day was the big day. That was a ton of fun. What did we do on day 2?
Well, started at around 9. We kind of split up for breakfast and then hit the conference, hit the showroom floor for the first time. Ran into Adam again on the way in. That
was really interesting because Conrad from Bitcoin Well recognized us. and stopped us. And then the CEO was right behind them, so we all walked in together. We also ran into number 59, Brandon from Sovereign.io. Mm-hmm. That was a ton of fun.
Well, my main objective the whole show was Reg and Anna Bevan put together this amazing idea. If you can, I don't know if we can zoom in or not. We probably can't.
We absolutely cannot zoom in.
Okay, but I'll hold it close.
It looks good.
Okay, these magnets. I wanted to do stickers and just go full degenerate mode and stick stickers everywhere, but I think it was Reggie who had the idea of like, how about magnets?
Yeah.
You know, that's a little bit easier to remove. People can take them, reuse them, put them on their fridge. Great idea.
Yeah.
So he came up with this no peeing in the mempool, which one of us said at some point on an episode. And there's a little QR code down here in the corner that takes you to a landing page that we designed for potential sponsors.
Yeah.
It's got a little commercial on it.
The commercial slaps.
I don't know if can actually access that QR code through this video, but check it out if you can. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think we're gonna be sharing that commercial social media wide as well. But
yeah, well, anyway,
he was insane.
We had like 500 or 1,000 of these, and I was like, I am going to put them everywhere. But the problem was, I think the Venetian and other conference centers, they're smarter than me.
Yeah,
and so they're like, anything metal in this place, make sure it's like not magnetic.
He was literally.
I was like,
he was sticking it. He was trying to stick it here, slide off here. He was trying every surface in Las Vegas, inside and out.
I did
with this. It was hilarious. To watch him try.
I found the stalls in the men's bathroom, the partition between the urinals.
Yeah,
those work.
That was the premium location.
Yeah.
On the expo floor, down a set of stairs, in the men's bathrooms, on either side of every urinal privacy screen was no peeing in the mempool.
I mean, that effectively became the satchats booth. The men's bathroom in the basement, that was our booth. And it was great. We decked it out with these magnets. I stood in there. I was chatting about sats.
Dude, and bless Chris as a real entrepreneur, because not only did he do the men's bathroom that we went to go use the bathroom in, but there was a second men's bathroom next to that. He just went in there and canvassed it himself with no other, use for that room. He just went in there and slapped it everywhere. It was hilarious.
I probably spent more time in the men's bathroom than any other male at the conference. So I got that award.
Yeah. What did we do? We kind of did a tour of the expo floor. And there was some really great Bitcoin artwork right when you walked inside. Some hilarious Senor Gringo, you'll like this. There was a lot of Pepe Frog type, King Pepe or something. There was one Lego artwork that was a Roman version of Pepe on a bull with laser eyes. It was ridiculous. There was some stuff from Ross Ulbricht, which was interesting. I spent some time on the second day looking at that, artwork that he had done in prison, his prison jumpsuit, his prison journal. It was a whole little exhibit on how he had been jailed and then later freed.
When you get out of prison, do they give you your jumpsuit as
That was what he walked out in.
Oh, okay.
He walked out. Those were his clothes.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. So we did a tour of the showroom floor, and we saw Adam again at his booth. We saw Conrad. We met Chantel. We met Riley. That was cool.
All Bitcoin Well people. Shout out to Bitcoin Well.
Yeah. And Chantel said she liked when we shout her out, which means that she listens sometimes.
Yeah, she's listening.
I also saw BTC Trading Cards, which is a company that does collectible trading cards about Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. To try to raise awareness that way and teach people that way.
Very cool.
And they do really cool limited runs so I'm a Magic the Gathering guy. You guys, if you watch this show at all, I'm a big Magic the Gathering guy. Mm-hmm. So I collected X-Men cards in the 90s. So I loved the collectible cards. I was asking them if they were going to ever make it into a game. Where you could play and collect. If you cast Michael Saylor, you just win the game, you know what I mean? And they might do that.
That's cool.
I also gave them some feedback on like, dude, you should do 9 cards where when you put them all in a binder together, it makes one big. Why are you smiling, bro?
Because Senor Gringo Poppy said, "Did you see our boy Opti?" Just you wait.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. We're working up to the crescendo.
That was the high. Yeah. So, and I also met Aladdin, who is he is the founder of BTC Trading Cards. He's going to be on the show like next month. And his business partner from day one, Bo, is going to be on the show as well. I booked him right there on the floor. So then, did we check out a gigantic mining rig next? That thing was crazy.
It was cool. I mean, it was magnetic, so I was sticking fucking, magnets all over the thing, which was great. That's really the only thing I cared about. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, so this would be like $3 million, and then it was an 18-month payback period, and I was acting all interested, and the whole time I'm like, meh.
And he would, oh my gosh, Gemini, the credit card, had wrapped a Cybertruck in orange.
Yeah.
And put it on the floor as this beautiful advertisement to themselves. And the Cybertruck is magnetic. So Chris slapped a no ping in the mempool right on this bright orange Cybertruck.
More than one. First of all, there were 2 of them, and I probably put like 5 to 10 on each one.
Oh my God. And then he would take his phone and he would do a video where he's like scanning, and then when he gets to the magnet, he would zoom in real close on it. It was hilarious, dude.
Yo, they're giving those 2 Cybertrucks away.
Okay, Senor Gringo, they're giving those 2 Cybertrucks away. Wow. Okay, insane.
No, thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm good. But there was also a Cybertruck that had like a
camper on the back?
A camper on the back, which looked kind of cool.
That got no peen in the mempool all over it, too.
Yes, Cybertrucks are magnetic, we've learned. So after we had done a sweep of the floor, we went over to the Simply Bitcoin area. So there was like a press-only area, and you couldn't get inside unless you had the right badge, which we did not. But I think Chris was like, dude, you should try to see Opti, because I love Opti. Opti is my absolute boy. And I am loyal to the Lord Opti, but I'm a shy guy. But Chris was like, let's go see if we can say hey. But interestingly enough, the COO of Simply Bitcoin, Jacob, recognized us.
Yep.
And he came and spoke to us because Jacob lives in Raleigh with us.
Yep.
He goes to the Bitcoin meetup
that we go to.
Now, we haven't gone to the same one yet.
Yeah, we've been like ships in the night so far.
Right. But Simple Steve, number 60, Simple Steve has been hammering into Jacob that we are the best show in Bitcoin. He's like, you got to check out satchats. And Jacob's like, okay, all right, I'll get to it. You know, I've been working all day. I don't want to hear about this. I just want to hang out with some Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
He goes back again, and Simple Steve is like, no, man, I'm trying to tell you, satchats is it. So he started watching our show, and now he loves our show.
He had like notes on his phone of like, you know, you could just tell he wanted to be a part of the story. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even though we're small, we can offer something that no one else in this space can, which is an opportunity to be like a little line in our fingerprint eventually. You know what I mean? Like it's so early. So early.
Yeah.
You get to put your fingerprint on this thing.
Yep.
And you could tell that really amped him up. So he had notes in his phone of like, oh, you guys should do this, some ideas for us. So anyway, like he welcomed us with open arms, which was amazing. To walk up to that booth, because, you know, we love Simply Bitcoin. We watch Simply Bitcoin. We listen. And we have for a long time. And so, you know, especially you. You've been like a daily listener for over a year.
Me and Senor Gringo Poppy are in the chat being degenerates, trying to just get our comments shown on screen about Lord Opti, etc. So Jacob was like, hey, man, do you guys want to be on the show today?
Yeah, they had like a whole studio set up there at the show.
Yeah. Where they were shooting like 15 to 20 minute spots with different people.
Yeah.
So like apparently like right after us, there was some dude who had asked Michael Saylor some kind of question.
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen was on there as well. Peter Schiff was on there as well. So it was like little quick hits, basically.
Yeah.
So they invited us back at 3:30 to come do a little quick hit with them. So we came back at 3:30 and we jumped on the show. First of all, Senor Gringo, I did see Opti before we started taping. I actually got down on one knee. I gave him my big old water bottle and I said, "Knight me."
Knight me right here.
And he took the water bottle. He was like, "I hereby knight you," like a knight of Opti, dude. And I rose up. A freshly christened Knight of Opti, okay?
Who, by the way, is like kind of jacked.
So number one, so I've been watching them for about a year, and Opti was real skinny.
Was he?
Yeah, he was not. But we met this guy named Sal, who was like, he was a jacked dude talking about how you need to eat like 2 pounds of steak and like 12 eggs or something. I'm like, that can't be good for your cholesterol. And I told him how I was training to lift the legendary stones of Iceland. He's like, "Show me your deadlift right now." And like I had to just on the conference floor just do like a fake, just like
your form.
He was like, "No." And he's like, "Dude," he's like, "I can get you 20 pounds heavier just by fixing your form." I'm like, "Bro." He's like, "You got to call me. You got to train with me." And then he's like, "You gotta rub a banana peel on your face and dunk into some influencer water,
Saratoga water." Yeah.
So, anyways. This guy, he showed me videos of Opti working out. He showed me Opti's squat, Opti's deadlift, and Opti's like shoulder press, and talked about how he's been like getting Opti stronger. And when we saw him, I'm 6 foot tall. Opti was taller than me. And he was big, dude. I bet he's like 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's getting stronger so that he can, because sometimes when you get to be a Bitcoiner, you start worrying about, real world defense.
Paranoid, yeah.
But the dude was huge. We jumped on the show with Nico, and it was Nico, and it was Chris, and then it was me. And he talked about our show, but I think he was expecting to just like talk a little bit about how we were a brand new podcast. And he wasn't ready for how much like deep, simply Bitcoin knowledge I had.
Yeah.
So, Senor Gringo, I'm not sure if you were there, man, for OptiGate last year when Opti was trying to say something and Nico cut him off and said, no, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. And everybody in the chat went insane that Nico had cut off Opti. And to this day, it's called OptiGate. Mm-hmm. And dude, I went hard. I was live for OptiGate. I was in the comments like, "Don't you ever cut off my boy again." Nico couldn't believe I was like just pulling out all this crazy stuff. And Opti was cracking up, producing the show behind the scenes. So we had a great time. And I think they're going to release that in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So maybe Monday or Tuesday.
And we'll share it on our channel as well.
Senor Gringo says he was there for OptiGate. Opti is the true king of that show. Oh, so at one point, Senor Gringo, we were going so hard that Nico was like, "Hey man, do you want a job? We will replace Opti with you if you want to be the co-host of Simply Bitcoin." And I said, "Satchats is sovereign." The answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you go down, Opti goes down, Mikic goes down, and if you're short a man, I got a studio right here. I know how your show works. I know how y'all vibe.
Yep.
I'll jump on and be a host or a co-host. Like I'll put you on my back for one day.
Yeah.
But it was such a great experience, man.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Nico is very businesslike off of the camera. Mm-hmm. He's like Chris. Even though he's the host of Simply Bitcoin and Chris is the co-host, they really vibed off screen because they were very businesslike. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm the host and Opti is the co-host, we were just being bulltards off camera talking about how we got Bitcoin and we love it. We were IQ 70 mode. It was amazing, dude.
Yes.
So that was a great experience.
Yeah.
So what else did we do on day 2?
I mean, I feel like after that we were just like, okay, we're in good shape here.
Yeah, yeah.
There were some other highlights, but what would you say was your favorite part about day 2?
Day 2 is definitely Simply Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I answered that differently when I asked you specifically. I asked Chris that question, and he was like, simply Bitcoin. And I was like, well, my favorite part was having lunch with the girls.
Well, let's give some context. We were in front of our wives, sitting down at dinner that night, and he was like, oh, Chris, what was your favorite part about today? I was like, simply Bitcoin. It was awesome. And he was like, well, my favorite part was having lunch with the girls. Love you, girls.
Yeah.
And just absolutely made me look like a fool.
He was like a baseball on it. He was like T-ball, and I was like, bam! I got him so bad.
Yeah.
So we did, I think after Simply Bitcoin, we felt pretty good with our lives. I thought it felt like a big win.
Yeah.
And like seeing Adam from Bitcoin Well, seeing Brandon. Oh, and we also went and hung out with Oliver.
Can't forget Oliver.
So Oliver, and I can't remember what number Oliver is. I think he's in the 60s. But Oliver was the guy who like was from Macedonia.
Yep.
And
beyond the checkout.
Beyond the checkout. Every time his parents would get paid on a Friday, they would hop in the car and drive to like a dark corner of the capital city, Macedonian lira, for German marks.
Yeah.
So he was there with Foundation Devices, which is like a wallet. Mm-hmm. And he had done do you have it?
Yeah, let me grab it.
So he was there with them where they had like these poker chips for Foundation. And, look, while you're up, try to put it close to that camera. Yeah, So we saw those right there. Yeah. And then on the back, like you can scan, to like get rewarded in sats. So anyways, that looks kind of blurry, but so we saw Oliver and we met his business partner and they had made a bunch. Oliver's trying hard to work with Chris.
Yeah.
He had made several Ithaca hummus poker chips with the same little QR. Oh, there it is. With the QR code on the back. He was pumped up and we had the conversation with Dan. So it was a huge day. And there was, I think, 33,000 people who attended.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now, let me slow down real quick. Because Kristen wanted us to observe who was at the show. Demographically. And energetically and vibey.
So, like, yeah.
Okay, so there were 33,000 some odd people, is what she told me. The predominant person at the show was 25 to 45-year-old white male, which is the predominant Bitcoiner in America.
Yeah.
And the predominant race was white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The next most abundant that I saw were like Middle Eastern over to India types. Mm-hmm. Then Asians, and then finally black people, African Americans, what have you. So that breakdown, most of them were dudes. There were some women, only a small portion of them looked like Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
The rest looked like they were kind of there
to support their significant other or their partner or...
Yeah. And of that breakdown, it felt like maybe 2 out of every 5 were Bitcoiners. Mm-hmm. And then another 2 out of every 5 were suit coiners. Uh-huh. Okay, so this is a new term that I learned. Obviously, there's S-coiners. This is family friendly, so we won't say it on air. But if you're into cryptocurrency, you're an altcoiner. Or, an S-coiner. But there were suit coiners there. And suit is one letter away from the other word for S, for S-coiners. So suit coiners is my new favorite term for the political and financial class that is coming into Bitcoin. So J.D. Vance was like a keynote speaker. And
Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah. Which none of that was impressive to me, but Dan, our new political guy, he was like, "This is so huge. We've never had a sitting vice president talk about Bitcoin."
Yeah, no.
And I was like, "Well, didn't Trump come last year?" And then I was like, "Oh, he wasn't the president at the time."
Sitting, keyword. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like running for office.
Right.
So the fact that it's like a sitting vice president was like a big deal.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot, and like at this event, this like Kraken VIP America 250, where they're like celebrating the 250th anniversary of America, there were a lot of suit coiners, and they were like young 20-something guys who would half bro hug each other.
Yeah.
When they would see each other, and they're like so happy that Bitcoin is going to help them amass more political power. Mm-hmm. First things first, and I know Mom is watching here, and Senor Gringo, we're really happy that you were only an S-coiner for a year, and now that you're a maxi for 9. Let's go. And for all the Satillionaires watching, just skip cryptocurrency. Yeah. Just skip it.
Yeah.
Go over it. Don't worry about it, okay? Cryptocurrency is up here with stocks and bonds and real estate and investments and everything. Come down here and make sure you're choosing the right money first. Your choice is Bitcoin, gold, or government tokens, okay? Make sure you're here with Bitcoin before you decide what you want to do up here. Mm-hmm. So I went to Cotillion, okay? And I know Mom's watching, so Mom, this is for you here. I was growing up right here in Raleigh, okay? In the 5th grade, my mom sent me to Cotillion at the country club, the Carolina Country Club.
What's Cotillion?
Cotillion is where you go to learn how to like dance, and like formal dance, like box step dancing and like maybe waltzing and other things. Basically, if you're a good little Southern boy from a good little Southern family, your good little Southern mom sends you to a good little Southern cotillion, and that you wear like a little suit, and the girls wear little dresses, and they have little white gloves, and you would practice dancing. But then you would always get to the one girl who wasn't wearing gloves, and her hands were all kind of sweaty.
Oh,
you're like,
gross.
I don't want to touch your hands.
Sick.
Where are your gloves?
Yeah.
Get your gloves. Why? They didn't send you to Cotillion with your gloves. So one thing I learned in Cotillion is that if you're wearing a jacket, okay, like a suit, when you're standing, your suit jacket must be buttoned. You must button it, okay? None of this like flying open and your tie is like flipping around everywhere. You button it. If it's a 2-button jacket, you button only the top button.
Right.
If it's a 3-button jacket, you button only the middle button if you want to wear it like an Englishman. You button I'm sorry. If you want to wear it like an American, you button only the middle, and you actually iron the lapel to hide the top button. Mm-hmm. If you're an Englishman, you can do the top and the middle. But there's so many people that walk around with the middle, that 2-button, and they have the middle and the bottom buttoned. Drives me insane.
Where are we going with this?
So when you sit down, you're supposed to unbutton the jacket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
These suit coiners were walking around with their jackets flapping everywhere.
Yeah.
Bro hugging everywhere. Okay. Not cool.
Crypto bros.
Well, they're suit coiners because they're not necessarily crypto, but it's a different term. And what I realized is, and by the way, there was like a lot of "Make America Great Again" hats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Floating around.
Yeah. A lot of that energy out there.
There were a lot of political people at the show who I could tell that they saw Bitcoin as a way to get more political power. Mm-hmm. And the shame here is that they didn't realize that simply holding Bitcoin is power. Bitcoin is power. Bitcoin, you don't need Bitcoin to go get more political power. Bitcoin is actual power. And being able to store your wealth for the long term, that's power. Being able to transact freely with no permission required, that is power, right? So they can't, it's almost like at the end of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, where, what's his name? The professor who stammers, he wants the Sorcerer's Stone in order to use it to help Voldemort. So he can't figure out how to get it out of the mirror of Erised. Harry Potter just wants the stone itself. He doesn't want to do anything with it. He just wants the stone to keep it safe, and he's the one that's able to get it out of the mirror. It's kind of like that situation where they're looking to use it for something, and all they need to do is just have it and use it what it's intended for. Mm-hmm. So anyways, that was kind of the vibes, you know. But you could tell Bitcoiners, I was not anywhere close to being the only person wearing sunglasses and a ball cap inside.
Yeah, you were with your people.
I loved it. And I ran back to my wife. I was like, "Hun, I'm not the only person wearing sunglasses and a ball." Thank you, Mom. Professor Quirrell. That's right. Professor Quirrell. I was not the only one that was looking like this. Mm-hmm. American Hodl was on the live stream in between speakers, sunglasses on. For like the professional live stream of the show, I'm like, dude, let's absolutely go.
Yeah.
So it was a big day 2. And then we went and ate at Thomas Keller's Bouchon. Chris had duck fat. Then he had some more duck fat. Then he had some raw beef. Then he had some oysters. You know, then he had some deviled eggs.
I just never get those kinds of treats here in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, you can't get foie gras here. You know, truffles are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Good beef tartare exists here. I just don't get to eat at those places, you know, as often as I'd like to.
Do you see my dad being a degenerate? But you got such pretty eyes, boy. You ain't never going to see my eyes on this show, Dad. Okay? Nation state paper, Dad. All right?
Before we got some time left, but I do want to make sure that we hit the swag bag.
Let's show everybody.
All
yeah,
right.
because the last day we were kind of dead. We went to the BitKey guys and talked to them about their like I guess it's like a wallet. That was really cool. We talked to River. Chris vibed with that guy more than I did. And then we said hey to the Bitcoin Well folks, and we kind of bounced. Mm-hmm. So you know, the highlight of the conference for me was going on Simply Bitcoin and getting knighted by the Lord Opti. Mm-hmm. And meeting Jacob, their COO, and just kind of feeding off how much he likes our show.
Yeah.
And how much he wants to help us.
Yeah.
So let's go through all the swag we got. First of all, we did have our own swag, and Chris has shown you here this no peeing in the mempool magnet, which was so much fun.
Excellent.
And he was putting it everywhere. He stopped at the end of the show to put about 50 on the metal wall at Starbucks. And actually, he was just dropping them on the carpet as we were exiting, kind of like Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
This guy was an absolute, he just had no, I was terribly afraid that we would upset somebody. And my people pleaser defect was flaring up. And he was like, no, man, no peeing in the mempool. So we had our own swag. What else did we pull up?
Well, first of all, let's go with these glasses that I did pay for. I've been kind of cycling through some eyewear options on the show.
Yeah.
These are actually my original blue blockers.
Okay.
And I've got this one photo of me that I use as my headshot where I'm wearing these, and I love that picture. Mm-hmm. And so I think I'm gonna roll with these indefinitely.
Okay.
However, out at the show there was this brand called Chroma.
Okay.
And I noticed Nico had them. Adam from Bitcoin Well, that night at the party, he was wearing them.
Okay.
And when I saw them on him, I was like, those are some cool glasses. So the very next day, I went to the Chroma booth and I picked up these. And I might go with these.
What do you satillionaires think?
You know,
of the new option. I like the black frame.
I do too. They're a little bit more. I'm gonna wear them for the rest of the show, and then I'll go back and I'll look at the tape and see.
Now, you also told me to tell you when I think that they're high on your nose. Do they feel like they're high on your nose right now?
Do they look like they are?
I mean, they're at the top of your nose, right? That's kind of where it's supposed to go, right?
Yeah. I mean, my eyes should be right in the middle.
They are.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's wear these for the rest of this show at least, and. I was driving over here this morning. I was like, you know, this show is for Bitcoin beginners.
Yes.
And I experienced a little bit of fear around either of us or both of us, or maybe just me, appearing too much like a toxic Bitcoin maxi bro.
Okay.
Like if someone like my wife or your wife or some pre-coiner tunes into satchats for the very first time, I think it's important how we present ourselves so that we're not too over the top with our Bitcoin-esque looks. But then I talked to our intern Sarah about it, and she was like, I'm not sure what a Bitcoiner is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
So it's in your head.
Yeah, because think about a surf instructor. He still looks like a surfer, but he's just more welcoming and more patient. You know?
Yeah.
So I think you can look how you're going to look, like a ski instructor. They look like they know what they're doing. You got to have a little bit of that juice going on.
Yeah.
But speaking of knowing what you're doing, real quick before we keep going with the swag. So on the first day we were there, we were going to get some breakfast. And Chris recognized number 59 Brandon coming off of the conference floor. He had the Sovereign.io shirt. He called him over. We took a little photo. I posted it on Nostr for number 62, Jeff Booth, to see. Love me, Jeff. Please pay attention to me. I love you. And we were going to get his contact information so that we could hang out later on in the show. So I pulled out my Android phone to get his phone number and to swap Nostr accounts. And Brandon pulled out his iPhone. And Chris pulled out his iPhone. And Chris said, he looked right at me, he was like, watch this. So he takes his phone like this, and he goes to tap the top of his phone to Brandon's iPhone, right? Because, and I saw this happen somewhere else on the conference room floor, the ghost of Steve Jobs will transfer your contact information between iPhones, correct?
Right. If you touch the tops, it'll just send it right
It'll
over.
just send it right over. And Chris was like, boom, like that. Absolutely nothing happened. And his face went from looking like the most supremely satisfied, getting a thank you card from the Delta stewardess type, give me my affogato, to absolutely wrecked, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely wrecked. And I went, Chris, you really think his phone's going to communicate with yours? And Brandon goes, do you think I have near field communication turned on? Don't patronize me.
Yeah, get your device off of my device.
Don't touch my device with your device.
Thing out of here.
Chris has absolutely no cybersecurity awareness, and I am doing everything I can to help bring him up to speed. He took a phone call in the airport and just walked away from his unlocked laptop on the seat. So I grabbed his laptop and pulled up a web browser and typed in, I just stole all your Bitcoin, to like show him what he's doing. But Brandon, he knows what he's talking about. He has hardened his iPhone. You don't want NFC turned on, especially at an event like this. So Chris might as well have dropped his pants on the floor there. It was so funny, and Brandon and I got a huge kick out of it. That was so funny.
I don't know how to laugh at myself, though.
But you know what? We're not going to just break Chris down, because at the VIP event, you had to scan a QR code to get in. Your ticket was a QR code, and I didn't know where our tickets were in our Proton mail. So I found the original, like, hey, you've got your tickets. And I found that there was a QR code, and I was trying to get them to scan it to let me in. It was a QR code that was part of an ad at the bottom of the email signature.
To get you to like sign up for some app or something.
To get you to get the app where your ticket is inside was a QR code, and I was like trying to zoom in on my phone, like, here's my ticket. And they were like, dude, you can't come inside. Yeah. And it was Chris who found the QR code. So we both had our technological difficulties. Yeah. So what else did we get at the show here?
We got these super cool Bitcoin coins.
Yeah.
From Bitcoin Well.
Okay.
I got one for my son, and I gave it to him this morning. He's pumped to have a little Bitcoin, because I talk about Bitcoin all the time, and he's going to be a Bitcoiner.
Let's see. Let me hold that up for everyone to see. So this one, and does it open?
I tried to open. Maybe we'll try to bust one open.
Yeah. So I kind of like a fun little Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
There we go. And then I think it says Bitcoin Well on the back. And there was a number of people that had those actually, with that were kind of branded with their stuff. So this is kind of fun. Has a nice weight to it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Substantial.
We got to figure out what like the sat would be, you know, because this is like a Bitcoin, but we're satchats. So like, would you get like a smaller gold coin or something to represent a sat?
Like a dime sized.
Yeah. Oh, a dime at a time, Mom.
Dime at a time.
One dime at a time.
One dime at a time. All right. Next, along with this hat at the USA 250 celebration. I don't know if you saw these.
What?
Yeah. You didn't see those?
Oh my goodness. Dude, how did I not see? I was so uncomfortable. That's why I didn't see anything. Wow. George Washington with laser eyes. Let's go. That is hilarious. And let's go, dude. Senor Gringo's kids, age 7 and age 9, have Bitcoin and cold storage. I love that. Oh, look, that's kind of bright. Let me see if I can turn it. There you go.
There it is. There it is.
Amazing. I love that.
All right. Next, we got another little gift from the Bitcoin Well folks. And I'll let you you were explaining what the heck that was to me before the show.
Yeah, so this is an entropy pouch. And Adam from Bitcoin Well was explaining that this is like, this is what Satoshi envisioned when it came to creating your seed phrase. So we use wallets that give us our 12 words, kind of from like an auto-generated perspective. But there's 50 tiny dice in here, and you're supposed to roll them once, write down all the numbers in order, roll them again, write down all those numbers in order, and then you have a sequence of 100 numbers. And then somehow that creates an even more secure seed phrase for you because the entropy or the randomness is ultra high. And there's like a 1 in 39, quadrillion chance that you would get the same sequence twice. So we're going to have to figure out what that is. But I'm a big D&D guy, so I love rolling dice. So that was kind of a cool gift.
Nice. All right, and then we got this. This is a little jewel right here.
Yeah.
A lot of pins, so you're gonna have to kind of squint a little bit to get in here and check this out. But this is from the Simply Bitcoin guys. They had pins, very conference-like. You get all these pins and you put them around the lanyard that holds your pass.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, they were good to us, man. I really appreciated all the people over at Simply Bitcoin, and I'm excited to continue a long-standing conversation and possibly relationship with. We'll see. Yeah,
and Senor Gringo, we got to meet Rustin as well. And next to Opti, he looked like a small guy. I'm telling you, dude, Opti's huge.
So then we just got a variety of stickers that maybe we'll kind of... I don't know. What do you think?
We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Chris is still trying to stick everything everywhere. So what did we get here? Where were these from?
This is from Bitcoin Well. This one.
Okay.
Little guy.
Yeah. Let me see this here. Bitcoin Well. All right. What is it, like a bucket of Bitcoins? Secure, private, something like that. Here we go.
And then
Some
we got
stickers.
this. Then we got this bumper sticker right here.
Nice.
Throw up this sticker. Snap a pic. Post with hashtag scarce on X or Nostr. One post selected to win 420,000 sats.
Okay, we'll do that.
Wow,
I like that.
Rookie numbers, but that's okay. That's cool.
It's not 10 million sats, but it's still 420,000.
Not even 1 million. Like what the heck? All right. Anywho, that's our swag bag.
Yeah. So I think did we start right at 10? Were we good? Were we good today?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah,
we were.
JRB, we were good. All right, so look, we're getting to the top of the hour here. I think let's do this. Let's give our final thoughts, okay, and then I'll give everybody a preview of what's coming up this weekend.
Great.
And then we'll go have lunch with our wives, and we're gonna remember to say that this time.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm gonna jump on Simply Bitcoin at 12:30 with Senor Gringo, and we're gonna keep rolling.
Oh, are you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm kind of eating with my wife right when it starts, Senor Gringo. So I'm not going to be super active at the beginning, but then like around, 1:15, 1:30, I'm going to start going hard in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So my overall experience was it was mixed. Okay, Las Vegas is not for me. Trouble City is not for me. I cannot bring myself to gamble because I would rather just stack sats with that money. Some of the smokiness of the casino. There's lights and music and flashing and movement everywhere in Las Vegas. And when we finally arrived back at the old terminal in Raleigh, it was downright peaceful and calm by comparison, right? Mm-hmm. You're just overwhelmed with how much is going on and how much people are trying to get your attention to go do something sketchy with them, right? The Venetian was gigantic. It was a huge complex that was never ending. And that was kind of cool how big it was. But the suites for the conference were like straight out of the 90s. I mean, they didn't even have electrical outlets at hip height to like charge your smartphone.
Yeah.
I had to pull the nightstand back, unplug some junk, plug my thing in, get the cord up, try to click it in. I'm like, where am I?
Yeah.
And all the finishes and stuff were old. I'm like, ugh. So, the spa was a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking about Bitcoin in the sauna with you and some other naked dudes. And I think next year we'll probably spend more time out there. Mm-hmm. We'll bring the kids. Maybe we'll stay in the Palazzo, which I think is a little bit of a newer thing, right? And we'll also like add a trip to Disneyland and like a trip to the Grand Canyon. So we'll try to make it like more of a family-oriented trip next year and spend a little bit more time out there. The conference itself was a lot of fun. We didn't go to any speakers whatsoever. We were on the expo floor working it. There was a lot of good people. Chris met Big Satoshi, which we didn't even cover today. There was a lot of cool dudes running around, a lot of suit coiners as well. But Bitcoin is for everyone, so everyone is welcome. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm really happy that we met Jacob. I'm really happy we got on Simply Bitcoin. I'm really happy that we met Adam and just got to like meet some of these people in person. So we're going to go again next year because this is our work. But I'm also interested in other conferences around the world or smaller conferences that might be more Bitcoiny. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a lot of just reaffirmation of assumptions that I've made up to this point. For example, if we are going to grow the size of the Bitcoin pie in terms of adoption and help more people adopt Bitcoin and have a real impact in that area, my feeling is that we need to go after the most underserved demographics out there. It's kind of like if you can make it with them, you can make it with anybody. Mm-hmm. And so being at the conference, walking the showroom floor, there was a lack of female presence, everything outside of like middle-aged white dudes like us.
We were definitely the predominant class.
Yeah. And so that just kind of reignited in me this passion to try to push for people who don't fit the demographic of middle-aged white dude to adopt and understand Bitcoin, because that's really gonna, that's gonna help. That's gonna help them, and it's gonna help Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, great to meet the Simply Bitcoin team. That was probably the highlight of the conference for me.
Are you excited to go back next year? Because they already announced that it's in Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd go back. And actually, my wife was even like, "I'll go back," and said, "I'll go back."
Not bad.
Yeah.
Well, I think next year we want to rent out a room and turn it into a studio, so that all the people there, because I tried to meet Hodl, I tried to meet Jameson Lopp, I tried to meet Lynn Alden, and like we need to like line up all these big heavies who are not going to come to the studio in Raleigh, and just like run through them at the show next year. I think that'd be great. All right, so let's take a look at what's coming up next week. So on next week's live show, I'm going to give y'all an update on why Satoshi chose 21 million, because if y'all watched that short stack last weekend, it was hilarious. I thought I had the answer. I fully did not. But I talked to Simple Steve, and he had some good things to share. I also have a funny meme I want to share next week as well. But we're going to cover the upcoming shows over the weekend and into next week. Saturday, the short stack is going to be what is fiat currency. Sunday, we're going to be going over a recent controversy around Jack Dorsey asking everyone to start calling sats Bitcoin instead of sats, which is hilarious, like deciding to call pennies dollars. And then we have a nice rehash on Monday of number 59, Brandon, if you want to know what that show was about, since we've been talking about him today. Number 60, Simple Steve, who we know and love, UTX Oracle. And number 61, Ann Garland, who's on, the CEO of that Dirty Maj company.
Yep.
So, this is the part of the show where we ask you for your value in exchange for ours. If you had fun hanging out with us today while we recapped our experience at the Bitcoin conference, remember to smash that subscribe button. It may or may not link you to the possibility of a certain giveaway that would have, maybe 10 million sats in it. We're not sure. You know what I mean? We're gonna let you feel how you feel about that. But there's a 10 million sats giveaway coming up when we hit 99999 plus 1.
And I can guarantee this: the more ways you find to engage with satchats, whether that's liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, on Spotify, on other social platforms that we're on, the better the odds of winning that 10 million sats.
Yeah.
We're building something in the background that kind of incorporates like a point system.
Yeah.
That we can't say too much about now as a possible solution, because we want to get our facts straight and know what we're talking about. But that's what it will potentially look like.
Yeah, Jeremy did some work to get out ahead of us and try to figure that out, and we got to catch up to him and understand it the way he does.
But at the end of the day, subscribers are kind of the number one objective for us. So
we need them scripts.
We need subscribers. We got to over 1,000, I think, in record time. I feel really good about that as kind of our resident business person here.
Yeah, we need to go up though.
We need to keep going up.
The number needs to go way up.
One other thing I want to mention that we talked about with Nico and Opti. If you're finishing up here with us, head over to Simply Bitcoin and check out their live. I think you brought this up with those guys. We intentionally timed our live kind of as like the warm-up prequel to Simply Bitcoin at what's that, noon?
They started at about 12:30. So we want you to come hang with us, from 10 to 11 or so. Maybe get a little bite to eat and then go right into Simply Bitcoin at 12:30. To hang out with those guys. And
then there's one other thing. They apparently, I learned this for the first time out at the show. They used to do a meme review on Fridays, but Jacob was telling us that they're moving on from that.
They haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah. So maybe they're not.
I told Jacob that we're going to take the meme review.
Well,
we're going to start reviewing memes on Friday.
Let's get in the comments today. On Simply Bitcoin. And let's try to get them to sign off on that.
Yeah.
Let's get their blessing.
Yeah.
And if they give us the blessing, then we'll start doing it at 10. And
we'll call it. I'll say we'll call it Lord Opti's Friday meme review in honor of.
Or we can start doing like segments of the live show. So we have like a 10-minute segment where it's a one meme, or we can really build this out into like a produced, segmented show. Yeah.
And all you early satillionaires like Senor Gringo, you can help us shape this show so that it's what you want and what we want, right? So we're going to have a good time. We're also on the road to number 99, Kristen, so help me get there. I think that's it. So let's see here. Remember, satchats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. We will see you tomorrow. We are now going to go have lunch with our wives.
Go back to sleep.